What's going on, Nation? John here. Can y'all let me know if we are 5x5 before we get rolling here, please? Backwoods is back behind the camera right now. He's going diva on us. He is actually saying he's not coming out here until he gets some FJBs. Mariah Carey style. Okay, we're 5x5. Thank you very much. Can we get some FJB, please? So I can get this man out of here. He's fired up. Thank y'all for being here this morning. And also, really quickly, Debbie Sims, thank you very much. There's some FJBs. How you doing there, Backwoods?
What up, everybody? What up? What up?
For anybody that doesn't know, Backwoods has a channel here on YouTube. Let them know about your channel, man. It's linked down below.
It's Backwoods. Well, it's Backwoods and prepping. I just kind of go by Backwoods now. I used to be a Patriot 3%er. I've done them things, but I changed it to the Backwoods and prepping. I tried to keep myself out of a certain box. You know what I mean? When you do the Patriot 3%er, you kind of put yourself in just this one little box, you know. And I'm so much more than that, man. I like to fish, hunt, you know. I grow gardens, chickens, you know what I'm saying. Just and I do prep, and and then I just changed it to Backwoods, you know, because I thought, you know, it's just Backwoods, you know.
And that's not a green screen behind you, is it, brother?
No, sir.
You got your own business going on over there.
Yes, sir. I got a mowing business. I worked for a gas company, natural gas.
Yep.
And I was what's called a pumper. And you know, I worked on the wells. I mean, I started out there and done everything, like from building the well heads, like, you know, putting the pipelines, all that stuff. I've done all of it. And then I actually got the gas out of the ground. You know, I had, I don't know, 37, 38 wells that I attended and kept the gas flowing, stuff like that. And then it just kind of got squeezed off, and I made it through 7 layoffs. And
wow.
Pot B. I made it through 7 layoffs, and then on the 8th one, they got me. And you know, I had invested heavily into 401k, and I really felt uncomfortable with the way the stock market and stuff was going. So, man, heck, when the coup hit, you know, when the 19 came around, and it was like, oh yeah. My God, shut down. I was, you know, because I kept up with the stock market 401k stuff, and I found that they took away the 10% penalty for early withdrawal, and I was like, there's my cue right there. And I started drawing my money out, bought a car, paid off all my stuff, and just lived for 2 years, you know, just doing whatever I wanted to do, you know. And
wrong with that.
And towards the end of it, when the money was getting low, I invested in a mowing business, bought some big mowers and weed eaters, and I do all the work myself. You know, it's hiring someone is just like, I don't want to deal with it.
Fuel prices too, man.
Yeah.
So talk to us about Swallowed by the Stork. You did a video here recently, Swallowed by the Stork, man. You want to explain that one? That was pretty good.
Yeah. You know, basically there's a lot of people out there that are on the fence about things, and a lot of people that you know, they don't seem to get that I see a lot of people say, for instance, man, I'm not voting no more because voting don't count. It just don't work, and well, I'm not doing this no more, man, because it just don't work. Well, that's that stork trying to swallow you. You're the frog, and the stork's trying to swallow you, and every time that you say I'm not doing this, you're going a little further down that throat towards the stomach to where you're going to be disintegrated. And I'm the type of person that believes that you reach out of that stork's mouth, and with what we're going through now, you reach out of that stork's mouth and you choke the shit out of it. I mean, you choke that stork until it can't breathe anymore. And if it can't breathe, and you got your hands around that stork's throat, it can't swallow you. And that's kind of, for me, that's kind of the whole situation of what's going on here in America today. That we're like that frog, and the government, and these elitists and stuff, they're the ones that are trying to swallow us whole. And for me, I believe in fighting. I believe in standing up for it. I believe saying it. I believe I'm not doing a gray man situation where, I'm just going to sit back and be quiet, because quiet people don't get heard. And that's the whole thing of the stork deal for me is I'm not going out without a fight. I'm going to choke the living hell out of it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. What I don't understand what you're talking about. Joe's America is great.
Yeah,
Now.
right.
Everybody's prospering right now in Joe's America. That's sarcasm, y'all. Yeah, you got some fans. Apparently, they came over from your channel there in the chat. I'm trying to find them here for you.
Some of my peoples.
Yeah, some of your peoples. So how do we fix America, man? How do we fix it? If you're president and you walk in day one, how do you go about fixing America?
Bring in a bunch of good old preppers and fighters, and say we're getting rid of everybody else, and these are the new people. Just get rid of I mean, it, for lack of better words, man, really and truly, the only way to be able to fix it is it's got to all burn down. I mean, it just does. It's so corrupt. It's so deep, and the whole thing of taxation without representation is happening on a scale of which we have never seen right now. I've got a real good idea for them politicians out there. You want to send money over to a certain area, like y'all been doing like crazy? Well, how about y'all give up y'all salaries for a couple of months? Because, y'all live good. Y'all live off our tax dollar. Y'all freaking go out there, and everything you eat, your gas, all your stuff, everything is paid for off of our dollars. So how about giving up some of your own dollars for a while and send that money over there, and stop sending our tax money? How about that?
They coming for your wood stove too, Backwoods.
I've
been telling you this.
I wish they would, man.
They're going to knock on the door with blue helmets and say, "Nah, man, you're illegal. You got that wood stove going."
Bro, I'm telling you, man, them blue helmets are so pretty. They stand out so well. I'm just saying, man. Just saying.
So I saw a video of it on your channel, man. You got your own security service going on. Is that right?
Backwoods. Yeah.
You want to explain that?
Well, yeah, I was just, sometimes I just get in one of them moods, where I just want to be funny and just have a good time. And, we all need to laugh.
Right.
And I was just sitting here one night, and it was like Backwoods security detail, and I thought, man, that'd be perfect. And I got a little Daisy Red Ryder BB gun over there, and I was showing it, and
accidentally shot it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I thought that would be perfect, and I was like, whoa, and it's just being funny, and well, it might have been making fun of somebody too, but anyway.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Now this came from our private chat this past week. Seriously, talk about home security for a few minutes. They said they want to hear Backwoods talk about home security. They hear me talk all the time. They get tired of hearing me talk. Talk about home security. What should somebody do inside the home and outside the home to secure the home?
Well, I mean, there's multiple things you can do. Some of them may or may not be illegal. But when it comes to when it comes to the security of your family, to me, I think anything is on the table. There's if let's just say you have a hard tile floor, like in around your door, because even if you have the locks and stuff like that, there are people out there that can pick locks. I've got a buddy that can pick a lock in just a matter of seconds, man, and just and it's open. Um, you can set up aluminum cans, just something real simple. Just set up some aluminum cans on a little stand right in front of the door. And when that door opens, it knocks the cans off. It hits that hard tile floor, clang, 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 clang. It makes a lot of noise. There's, obviously to me, a good dog. And don't just get a dog and think, okay, everything's good, because you can throw a good piece of meat into there and the dog's going to eat the meat. I don't care what happens, the dog's going to eat the meat. Now, I have some dogs and I have trained my dogs. I can hold a hamburger in front of their face and they will not touch it until I say okay. And
Wow.
yeah, I can touch their nose with it and they won't even lick their lips, man, until I say okay. I think dogs are a real good security system for you. They can hear things that you can't. They understand. And then yes, a good 12 gauge works as well. It's there's multiple things you can do. The security cameras. Um, Problem is security cameras are not going to work if the power goes out, if they cut power to your house, unless you've got some type of backup system for that. um there's multiple things like that. Securing the perimeter, bamboo, briars, like blackberry bushes can serve for two purposes. One, anybody that knows anything about blackberries knows, man, it's a son of a gun to try to get through them.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much can't. And then the second thing is you've got berries to eat. You
Or
know,
moonshine for those that do it. I
Moonshine,
know a few
exactly.
guys.
Little blackberry moonshine ain't a bad deal.
So, you're the guy to ask. They wanted me to ask this as well. You were in the chat actually repurposing stuff. First of all, what's the probably the wildest thing you've ever seen repurposed? For me, and I've seen this a couple times, which is sad. Wheelbarrows used as grills, just throwing a
Mhm.
grill top on top of a wheelbarrow, some wood in it. What's some ideas for repurposing stuff?
Man,
Prepping
an
wise.
old bathtub with a fire under it makes a heck of a hot tub.
There you go.
You can. I mean, I'm just being serious. If it's a grid down situation, and you can heat water and stuff, on the stove, on the fire, but you're just doing little pans. Like I'm being serious. If you can get your hands on an old bathtub, especially an old cast iron one, a lot of people throw them things away because they're heavy. You build a little stand, man. You could put a fire underneath it, and you don't want to get the fire too big because it could get the water too hot. But you can make yourself a good sized thing of hot water, and you could bathe from it, and wash dishes from it, a lot of things like that.
Anything you got? Anything behind you that's repurposed or
Yeah,
that could be repurposed?
actually, I've got a cart over here that I made out of a grill.
Really?
So yeah, it was a little 3 burner propane grill that I've got. I've got a new one now because this one, this my old one got old, and it's them little 3 burner. 'Cause I know a lot of people like charcoal, whatever.
Mm.
Of an evening, man, you've been working all day and everybody's hungry and you're ready to eat. A good propane grill, little 3-burner, throw a few burgers on there, man. You got some food pretty quick. But I took the stand and actually made a cart out of it for my shop building here. I mean,
That's
I
awesome,
could
man.
grab it real quick. It's just right here.
All right. Thanks everybody in the chat. By the way, I'm trying to keep an eye on chat while we're doing this. You know?
Yeah, I'm not quite done with it yet. But right there, that's a propane grill, and I made a cart out of it and just used some of these little totes and stuff. Put on there, put some totes on the arms, and I put some caster wheels on the very front of it, so it'll move around, and yeah, repurposed instead of throwing all that in the trash. I made a cart for my shop here.
Looks good, man. Looks good. So I got to ask. I've seen it in chat a couple of times this morning, and it's on here too. What are your thoughts on stacking gold and silver, man?
I have a little bit. My real thought of it is in the Great Depression, was it in around 30, 32, in that area time frame. The government actually made gold contraband. It was not considered currency for people like us, and they wanted you to turn in the gold, and they've already done that once before. What's to stop them from doing it again? I mean, in all reality, because we can say, well, F the government and all this, and you can say all this stuff, but let me ask you a question on that. If the government decides to make gold and silver subtribe, decides to make gold and silver non-legal currency for us, and let's say the feller down the street comes walking up to you and says, hey man, I know you got these chickens, I really need some eggs, here's this gold right here. And I look at that gold and I'm like, what's that? What am I going to do with that? That's my personal opinion on it. I understand that, they say, well, economy crashes, and then you got you've got some currency to back up. But if they tell you got to turn your gold in now, and let's say you're paying $1,000 an ounce for it now, what if they do for real? They say, hey, it's really worth nothing. You can turn it in. It won't be used as currency. We're going to put it in for the world currency thing, because I think we all believe that a world currency is coming.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, I do too.
They're installing it.
And that's another reason why I've got a little bit of gold and silver, but I didn't put a lot of prep into it. It was, my preps are other things that are of usefulness to me and to others, good bartering items, things like that. I don't know, I don't have a lot of faith in gold, silver, cryptocurrency, anything, because once the world currency is set, it's not going to be anything that's on the market right now. And I agree with that statement, Mr. Campbell Soup. It's going to be a mark of the beast currency.
Yeah, I believe so too. Since we're on the economy, man, talk about the economy. What are your thoughts on the U.S. economy? How bad is it going to get? Do you think it's just totally collapsible at this point? Is it going to recover? Stock market?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to collapse. There's no society that's ever spent the way we have, first off. Spent money that you don't have, but throughout history, if you look, all economies collapse. All economies. I don't is I mean, maybe I'm wrong about that. Does anybody know about an economy throughout history that's never collapsed? I mean, that's the question you need to ask yourself, is has there ever been an economy that has not collapsed? And when you start writing checks that you don't have the money for, we're actually, did you know right now we are actually for the first time spending more money than we are bringing in taxes. And I know a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people would say, well, we've done that before, sort of, but not at the level that we are now. Not, I mean, it's not even close. And what happens when those that are loaning the money decide to call the debt? Because I'm gonna give y'all a little piece of history real quick.
All right,
And,
give it to
and
us, brother.
there may
Give it
not
to us,
well,
Backwoods.
there may not be a lot of people that know this. Did you know what originally started out, how the World War II actually really got started?
Me, I think it was a continuation of the First World War, but go ahead.
Yeah. It was on a big part, but did you know that uh, um, the U.S. had been loaning Germany money before Hitler, and Hitler used so the U.S. started calling in the debt, and Hitler used that to his advantage, and saying, "Look, they're breaking our economy, and then this is we need to take care of the motherland type stuff."
Oh yeah.
They're calling in our they're wanting to break us, and control us, and that's how a lot of that stuff started with Hitler, and then he started demonizing people. I don't know of one that collapsed without being rebuilt with gold and silver. Yeah, and I understand that, Warlord, but you also got to understand that those that would use the gold and silver throughout history have always been the ruling class. And you know, I don't know, just the gold and silver thing. I'm just a no go on a big part of that. I think to me, I think 6 months worth of food sitting in your cabinet is 10 times the weight of worth in gold. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. Uh, uh, a hell of a water catchment system is worth ten
Yep.
times more than any damn gold and silver that can ever exist. Being able to deal with the problems is 10 times more worth than gold and silver. The whole rebuilding thing. I'm just telling you now, if you have common sense, and you have the food and the water and the means to protect yourself, and you have the knowledge, skills are going to be 10 times more worth gold and silver in a rebuilding situation. Because if you've got skills and you got the means to survive while the rebuilding's going on, and you got the skills to help rebuild, you'll get all the gold and silver you want. Just saying.
You got a lot of fans in chat, Backwoods, and I'm a little bit envious, man, because my beard. I can't get my beard to look like that. What's this? Real quick, what's the secret, Backwoods?
You got to be a man. No, I'm kidding, brother. I'm
Come
kidding,
on,
man.
man.
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding, bro. Bro, I'm kidding. Man, I apologize, y'all.
No, I wish I had Tribe's thing I could hit where he says no, no, no.
You're right. No, 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 no. No, hey, brother. I just, man, I grew. I just let it grow, man. It honestly, it's taken about a year for it to get this long, man.
There you go.
It's retreating from the top of my head, actually, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I got that. I
getting
got
there.
that going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, the 5 year preview. I'm looking at that. Okay, so pivoting over here. Do you expect any more Tifa protests, man? BLM, Tifa, do you see any protest in the future? And how do you plan on dealing with that if it comes to your neck of the woods, literally?
I'm gonna say if you live in any type of decently sized city, you better take Overwatch protection with you when you go vote. I believe that I really believe that November could be a big deal. Um, I believe that. See, I the thing about Antifa, what a lot of people need to understand this. Um, I've noticed this so much. Oh, Antifa is just a bunch of little latte soy boys and stuff like that. No, they're not. They're really not. I have seen videos personally that was sent to me. They're training videos. These people are not joking. These
Yeah.
people are training hard. Son, they had, I'm not kidding you. I watched one video where they come up there and they had a forklift and they were videoing and it went up to this truck and literally got a pallet of ammunition off of a truck and set it down. They opened it up and it was a bunch of Antifas and they were literally like getting this ammo and then they started training and they're not playing around, man. I'm just telling everybody, do not mistake your enemy. Do not underestimate your enemy. Period.
Somebody just said that in the
Yep.
chat
Yep.
too, Milton Rhodes.
Yep. Um,
So how do you deal with them if they come, to your town or wherever you're at, man?
it's going to be up to it's going to be up to each individual person. I can tell you how I'm going to deal with them. But I got to be careful of what I say, obviously. But I'm just saying, if they want a high velocity exchange of ideas, let's do this.
That's a good way of putting it, man. That's poetic. That's Backwoods is a poet over here, son.
Um, yeah, yeah. Don't underestimate, but if they, it's just gonna you're gonna have to understand that your perimeter is your perimeter. Um, Different people have different perimeter outlines. I look at it as a 10-mile radius around my house. Anything going on in a 10-mile radius of my house, I believe is concerning and should be dealt with accordingly. The hostilities that may come about, the bullying in the way of like polling booths and stuff like that. I just believe the midterms is just to go back on that for a second. I believe the midterms is a potential for very 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 nastiness going on.
Yep, I agree with that. This comes from Patreon earlier this week, man. Winter survival, shelters and preps. What are you doing to prepare for the winter time? Because this ain't going to be a normal winter, man. Not only the bad weather, Joe's jacked up, everything's jacked up, man. What are you doing to prep for that?
Well, first off, I bought the wood burning stove for my shop building, and I thought of it ahead of time, and I bought all the stuff to be able to install it in my house. So I've got all the double wall pipe and everything. I've got everything that I need to install it in my house. And so if you can't do a wood burning stove, there are a lot of tricks that you can do. You can take candles and use some clay pots, and you can take and just a little piece of metal, like some all thread. If anybody don't know what all thread is, it's just basically a big long bolt that's just threaded from end to end. It's just called an all thread. And you can take a couple of washers and bolts, and you get the clay pot and you get it setting up just a little bit off the bottom there, and you put them little tea light candles in there.
Yeah.
and you can have several of them. They will put out heat. It's
Yeah, they
actually
got that airflow going underneath them,
exactly,
just enough.
and there are multiple ways to heat like that. Have some extra blankets because if things do go bad, you lose your power, you got no way to heat, yada yada. You can cordon off a room with some good heavy blankets. You some Bisqueen, which is roll plastic. You can buy that stuff at the Wally World real cheap. You can buy a whole big old roll for little or nothing. I don't know, $15. Some duct tape, some thumbtacks. The best thing to do is to take that roll plastic and put it over your windows and put it over your door entrance, and then get your blankets and everything and hang them over that, and that'll keep a lot of air from coming in or out. And yeah, setting up tents is a good one too, CJ. A great one right there. But that's the whole thing. Um, I won't disagree with that. No, but yeah, and just cordon off a room and try to keep that particular room, and obviously body heat, if there's three or four, five of you, you're going to put off some type of heat. But blankets, Bisqueen, um, get the candles. Remember also though that if you block off a room, if you make it too blocked off, when there's any type of fire, and I'm talking like the candles even, over time, it can deplete the oxygen in the room. So be careful of that, is to not deplete your oxygen.
Good deal, man. Good deal. Um, this is a question. This is a great question, actually. I'm not a huge comms guy, so you might be. I'm not sure. How do you network during SHTF? Like, my biggest piece of advice here would be to set up your network prior to SHTF, but somebody asked specifically during SHTF, how do you network with people you know?
Um, Man, I'll tell you, I'm not a big comms guy. Um, the things that I did check into, I do have the Baofeng. I've got some walkie talkies. I bought the really good ones. That has the supposedly however many mile range, but that's not true. They but I do have some friends that live a pretty good distance from me, and when I go outside, I can I can actually talk to them, and they're a pretty good distance from me. But the one thing you've got to remember about comms is there are people out there that can easily key in on your location.
Yep.
So you have to be careful about comms. I'm like I said, I'm really not a big comms guy. I know a little bit of stuff. Um, it's that's why I say a 10-mile radius. We were going to get into doing the towers and stuff and bouncing, and everybody kept saying, yeah, but man, I'm telling you, once we start doing that, they're going to be able to key in on us. Some of the guys that really knew what they're doing. So I have to.
Yeah, we got a surprise for y'all here. I'm rolling with the Alabama tie this morning because I understand you're an Arkansas man. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Thought I'd start that rivalry up this morning.
I'm just saying.
Backwoods in a tie,
There you
everybody.
go.
It's like landing on the moon here, son.
Yeah, yeah. I actually do have some very nice clothes, man. I do the bling bling.
Oh, I know it.
I do the baggies and the button up, and the tie and stuff. Yeah, but
So let me see here. This plays off of a video you did, and I thought it was a really good video. Why should people smile in 2022?
If you live your life worried to death about everything, you're going to be miserable.
Yep.
Why be miserable? We've got plenty of time for that when shift happens. Got plenty of time to be miserable. Why be miserable now? Because regardless of what's going on right now, regardless of what we're seeing happening, guess what? You can still drive down to McDonald's and buy a damn cheeseburger and fries. So things are still good right now. You know what I'm saying? So smile and live your life, just be happy. This may surprise some people, and then there's a lot of people that don't know it, but God is good. And God tells us many, many times in the Bible not to fear. And, smiling is something that is good for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's good for yourself. It's good for everybody. Just smile. Just understand what's coming. Understand what's happening. But right now, we're not in. It's the fan. You know what I'm saying? We're not in we're not in shift. It's coming. It's here. It's here.
We're on the doorstep.
We're on. It's knocking on the door, bro.
No, that's the people coming for your wood stove, Backwoods.
Oh, can I?
Yeah, man.
Can I show a knife on here?
Yeah, Lord,
okay.
Yeah.
I was talking about an Arkansas toothpick the other day.
Uh-oh.
I wanted to show y'all an Arkansas toothpick.
Good Lord.
That's an Arkansas toothpick.
That's nice, man.
Somebody made that and gave it to my dad, and they had a bicycle handle grip on it. So I built the handle on it and installed it. I put some little coloring plates in there, as you can see. Now that's an Arkansas toothpick, and this thing is very, very sharp.
Now see, if I hold mine up to the camera, it might. Nah, it ain't that big, man. That's a sword. In North Carolina, we call that a sword, man.
Now this Arkansas toothpick here.
That's nice. That is nice.
That's a real knife right there.
Well, I'm about to blindside you here, Backwoods, because I got a new segment. It's called the Beaverine Hot Seat. And I just want to explain to the chat, you have no idea this is coming. You've not seen any of these questions. I'm just going to ask you a question. First thing that pops into your mind, man. Just reply to it, okay? If you don't mind. You ready, man? Wasn't that cool? All right, Kamala Harris.
Bitch.
I knew it was going to be something along those lines. Russia-Ukraine war.
Not my business.
Not your business. Your money. You sure it ain't your business?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, I feel sorry for the people, but it's the same as always, man. It's always a certain group of people that's got a male part measuring contest. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
But at the same time, I do got to say, there was a little something that happened in the United States some years ago, to where a certain number of states decided they were not going to be part of the union anymore. Right?
Yeah.
What did the
national divorce?
What did the United States do? Went to war with them states to get their territory back. We can talk about how it was about this and it was about that, but the honest to God's truth, they went to war to get their territory back.
Well, it comes down to one of two things, man. Either they forced the Confederate States to stay in the Union, which is a forced marriage, or they invaded a sovereign nation. There's no way to spin it. It's one of the two, right?
Exactly.
All right, AR-15 or AK-47?
Both.
Come on, man. You're on the spot here. You got to pick one or the other.
AR
Bad guys are coming to get your wood stove, and you got both of them laying on the couch. Which one are you picking up?
both. No, it's like
We got fans of both in the
I,
chat, man. You can pick one.
I have both, man. I'll just tell it out. I have both. I like the AR for its precision. You know, you can get real precise with it. You know, and I kind of like the nastiness short range of the AK. You know,
Your wife comes in this afternoon. She says, "Look, Backwoods son, this ain't working. You need to sell one or the other. Which one are you going to get rid of?"
her.
All right, man. All right, fair
No,
enough.
AR-15, brother. AR-15. AR.
All right.
I have those, and yeah.
All right. What's your favorite melee weapon?
This things like this right here. I mean, you know, a nice baseball bat, Louisville Slugger, is it's hard to defend against. I mean, you can put your arm up, but you know, yeah,
What's the most important prep?
relationship,
Explain that one.
relationships are just exactly the same thing of what I talked about with the drama. Is if you can't learn to deal with it now, you know, because here's the deal, bro.
Go ahead, man. Lay it
If
out.
you all right, so if you have any type of relationship with anybody, that means if you got to live in, if you're married, if you just have a small mag, you've got to think that relationships are going to be the most important thing, because even in your household, okay, I think a lot of us know, you know, you got the wife and the kids, you know, and you got all the, you know, is there not problems once in a while in your household? You know, does people not get upset? Is there some little disagreements? Is there things like that going on, you know, in your daily life? Obviously, man, for everybody, you know, nobody's perfect. Nobody can get along 100% of the time. I believe that the biggest prep is learning how to deal with bad situations. If you have, because I want to be clear on one thing real quick.
Yeah, man.
I do not condone divorce of a husband and a wife. I do not condone it. But there are obviously things about that you know, sometimes it's going to be just that's the way it's got to be. Divorce, for instance, I really believe that if you have relationship problems right now, you need to fix them. It is the very most vital, important prep that you can do, is to fix your relationships now. If you if you think that you're having problems now, what do you do when it becomes without rule of law, or when it, you know, is a shift situation, when there's no lights, there's no water, there's no food in the stores? You think you're going to be able to get along with them people during that time? If you can't get along with them now, fix your relationships now. Secure your household, because without rule of law, see, right now, like say there's going to be a breakup, or you know, you've decided, hey, I don't want to spend no more time with this person. We have too many problems. Get it done now, while there is some type of rule of law, because once there's no rule of law, who gets the preps? How do you divide the preps up? How do you decide on who's going to stay where you're at or who's going to go? You know, Man, I'm gonna tell you, it could get really bad for you in a shift situation. So I would think that your number one prep is to fix your house, your relationships, your um, you know, that to me is the most important.
That's awesome. That's great advice, man, because a lot of the unprepared are going to seriously struggle with that. But even a lot of the preppers, as you were saying, if they can't work their problems out now, things are getting ready to get a whole lot worse. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. A lot worse.
What's your line in the sand?
About about 2 years ago,
hey, hey, nothing wrong with that. What happened 2 years ago specifically that you were like, "No, this sucks"?
I don't know exactly how many years, two, three, whatever, when the basically when the cities and things started getting burnt down and I preached like hell back then to get out and do something, to go to the protest, to stand up, and I did some of it, and it was really sad. 1,500 members in a particular group, and 15 people shows up.
Wow.
It's protests are they absolutely are no good anymore. Protests will not do anything today. We had our opportunity. We had our opportunity, some 3 or 4 years ago. Um, I mean, I think that was our opportunity to stand up and make a real difference. I really do. I believe it was a test run. I believe that's why they allowed the the Antifas and BLMs to get out there and do what they did, because nobody stood up against it. I mean, a few did here and there. A few tried to protest against it, but when you got 15 people and you've got 3,000 standing over there on the other side, it's useless. And as far as I'm concerned, protests are done. The line in the sand was drawn about 3 years ago. I'm just sitting back like going, you know, it's whenever, let's do it.
Yeah, and to your point, man, it's really good. I believe this anyway. This is my opinion. Patriots are still the majority in this country, and so to have people not show out like that, it just keeps the minority in power, if you will. That I call them commies or whatever people want to
Well, it
call them. But
well it actually goes back, brother. It goes back to the whole thing of, oh man, we need to be quiet. The laws might come after me. You know what? I It wouldn't bother me one bit if the FBI's knocked on my door right now. I tell them, come on in, bro. Come on in. Let's sit down. Here, let me start this live stream up, man. We're gonna chat, because there is so much corruption. Um, I said it the other night on a live stream that the silent people never get heard. I mean, that's just, if you're silent, you're not going to be heard, man. And you know, it's again, as bad as I hate to say it, I don't mean to sound like a black pill moment or whatever it's called, but it's too late for all that. People were too busy keeping up with the Jones. Older folks in the chat will understand what I'm talking about.
I understand, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's that backhanded compliment there. That backhanded comment. I'm old. I get it.
No, I was actually saying that you were a young fella, and you might not,
Oh yeah.
get the meaning of keeping up with the Jones,
Oh, I get it though. That's the scary part. But no, you're right, man. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Man, I don't know. That's a funny question, actually. I, Possibility. I mean, if there's a pretty big rabbit hole right there. Honestly, on some beliefs on Bigfoot. I've never seen a Bigfoot. I've been in the woods my whole life. But now I have heard things in the woods that, even to this day, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, Squatch America's in here. They definitely believe in Bigfoot.
Right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I want to believe.
Yeah.
Survival food. What's your opinion on buying up survival food and stacking survival food as a prep?
Well, it's. I mean, food is life. You must eat to sustain to sustain. Vaughn, what's up, bro? Um, yeah, you must eat, man. It's a survival food is. I mean, let me ask this: does anybody carry a spare tire in your vehicle? Why
Yeah,
do you carry a spare tire in your vehicle? Do you really believe you're going to have a flat?
just to be prepared, man. And
Exactly.
I got a floor jack too. Not not a, one of them cheap scissor jacks. I learned my lesson a long time ago on
Well,
that.
well, the whole spare tire deal is exactly that. You carry a spare tire for in case you do have a flat. You don't expect that you're going to have a flat, but you realize if you drive long enough, you're going to get a flat tire, so you have a spare. And it's the same thing if you live enough, you understand that it don't even necessarily have to be that shift has happened and economy collapsed and all that. It can simply be the snow apocalypse we had a year or two ago, last year or whatever it was, when you know our stores up here, for the first time ever, we had, man, I mean, like the shelves were freaking empty.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was freaking empty. And it's it happened within a matter of 2 days. Gone, done, because there was a snow apocalypse. That the truckers couldn't come and bring resupplies. So having some backup food, man, is not crazy. It's smart. I mean, I don't know that having 10 years worth of food supply is very smart. What are you going to do with all of it, man? What if when shift does happen, and what if there's a fire in your house? I mean, I think you need to keep it reasonable. Um, I think if you've got a year's worth of food, that's, to me, that is the 6 months at least. But a year is I think is a comfort level of you can go through bad situations, but you can also enter into shift. And I'm just going to tell you, if a shift happens in a bad enough way in this country, yeah, it can turn, it can. There's going to be a lot of dead people. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, the We Were Souls, I believe, is the movie. Whereas,
Yep.
like, sir, you're gonna grab a rifle, and it's like there'll be plenty of them laying on the ground. And
That's a
it's
good
kind of
movie
the
too,
same.
man.
Yeah, it's kind of the same way with food. There's going to be a lot of people that are gone. I think if you can make it a year, um, if the economy, if the society has not came back together in a year, it's Mad Max at that point.
I think you're right, man. What's the most overrated prep, in your opinion?
Fancy gear.
Anything specific?
Not anything I can really think of off the top of my head. Fancy gear is just that. It's fancy gear. A good knife, a good knife, is proven that you can actually survive with just a knife. It'll be hard, but I don't know. That's a broad question, really, for me. I just say fancy gear. It's not. There's so much stuff out there that I mean, you pretty much, people get caught up in it because it's shiny and pretty and looks good, and you just got all this fancy gear that what are you going to do with it? What's the purpose of it? I would rather not buy all the, a $30 Walmart tent with a $10 tarp is just as good as a $400 tent
And some duct tape, man.
and some
I
duct tape.
fixed a few holes with duct tape before. Yeah, that's a good one. Solar ovens, they ain't.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I've been on those a couple of times, and they just ain't panned out for me either. Uh,
Yeah. It's
how do
good.
you deal with non-prepping family, Backwoods? You got any family that are non-preppers? Any friends that are coming to your house when it hits? How do you
Well,
deal with that?
uh, you just tell them what you can. Tell them to prep. Try to be at first. Try to just be reasonable about it. Um, it's funny because my sister actually, she was not believing in any of that. I have I have some stuff here. I have some stuff in another place. She saw some of my stuff one time. It's been some years back. She was like, "What is all this for? Are you one of them zombie apocalypse guys?" And I was like,
it's a,
"No, go ahead."
it's always the zombies.
Right?
Non-preppers are always
Yeah.
thinking, Walking Dead. That's all they
Yeah.
know. You're a zombie
And
guy.
yeah, and I told her no. I said, I mean, I brought the spare tire thing up, to her and stuff. But anyway, so when the coop hit, she hit me up and she's like, by the way, well, I can't find any toilet paper and I can't find any rice or beans. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I said, I'm gonna send you some. I'm gonna make sure you got some stuff because I have a niece as well, and a kid, so it was mainly about the kid, but now she my sister has she's working on about a month's worth now already of food supply, and you know um, is wanting to further it, and that's kind of how you deal with it. You show them reality. It's easy to go back and show because everybody's seen the toilet paper shortage. Everybody's seen there wasn't rice on the shelf, beans on the shelf. Everybody has seen empty shelves at the store. And I think keying off of that and just being honest and realistic about it, and not talking about, man, if you don't stack it to the rafters or you're gonna die because you've got to have 6 months, 1,000 years worth of food. And if you don't do that, if you just go into it, and then, to be honest with you, if they still don't want to prep, they gets nothing from me except lead poisoning.
Okay, there it is. Uh,
I
finally,
mean,
man, what's the best prepping advice? Let's say somebody, this is day one, they just discovered prepping. What's your first piece of advice? Best
don't get
advice you
o-
got?
don't get overwhelmed.
Don't get
It's
overwhelmed.
really not that hard. It's not. It's serious. To me, prepping is serious, but it's not that hard. Um, maybe don't drive by the store and buy the latte and the big snacky cake and spend $7 at the store. Go
Snacky
buy,
cake.
yeah, go buy your own snacky cakes and coffee and make them at your house, and that 3-4 bucks that you're saving from not going to the convenience store of a morning, you can buy you a couple of extra cans. Don't I think the best prepping advice is don't get overwhelmed. Don't sit back and go, oh my God, there's so much stuff, because you can only do what you can do. That's a good one as well. Non electric hand tools. I mean, yeah, but the real main thing is don't get overwhelmed. Prepare your mind. And buy stuff that you use every day. Don't don't go and buy food just to be buying it. And it's the food that you're like, yuck, that's nasty.
Art Nanny, that's a good one. She said stack enough food until grow season. That should be your goal, your end goal.
Yeah, that's good advice. Seeds, heirloom seeds, but remember, buy seeds for your region. Stuff that grows here may not grow in New York. Stuff that can grow in New York may not grow here.
Yeah.
So make
mistakes
sure.
will be made too, man.
Yes.
I've made plenty.
Oh man, me too, brother. Me too.
Let me see here. You ready? Never thought I'd be saying this to Backwoods. You ready to jump on the pole, brother?
On the pole.
Yeah, we got a pole here. No.
Oh yeah. Your pole. Yeah.
Please tell me you don't have a pole buried back here somewhere that you dance on.
Well,
What does Backwoods drink in the mornings? 41% of the people in chat say coffee. 16% say sweet tea. 13% say 87 octane gasoline. Wow, 13%. 30% say probably something illegal. And you're here to answer that question, Backwoods. What you drinking, man?
Energy drink. I drank one every
It
morning.
wasn't even on the list. Do
I
you
drank
really?
one. Yeah, I drank one every morning, man. I don't really have any particular one that I think an orange energy drink is the best. I like the and I know everybody's like, oh, the energy drinks is horrible for you, man. So is everything. So is breathing the air.
Well, we know what makes Backwood tick now. You know what I'm saying?
Energy drinks, man. Yeah.
And if you're just joining us, Backwoods, his channel is linked right down below this video. If you want to check him out, please check him out. Backwoods, what flag are you going to be flying when it totally collapses?
I got it right here, brother.
Oh, he's either grabbing a flag or he's passing gas, folks. All right.
Liberty or death, baby.
That's good, man. That's pretty cut and dry right there. People know when they see that flag, they know what they're walking into.
Liberty or death, my brother.
Yeah, there you go. What does America look like for you in 2030?
Man, if I'm still alive, it's hard to know. A lot of it has to depend on how people react to November, how people react to 2024. How people react, how much resistance are we willing to put up is going to really make a difference in how Backwoods gets to see 2030. You know what I'm saying? It's man, that's hard to know, because if we continue down the road that we are now and not standing up and not being ready for that high velocity exchange of ideas to correct things, man, 2030 is not going to look real good. I'm going to say we're probably going to be looking at stuff like back in the King days, because we're already there. I mean, we're already there.
We've been there, man. We're still the peasants. You know what I'm saying? We've kind of always been just peasants. The elites. They don't really have castles anymore for the most part, but they got the White House and they got stuff that we're not invited to, man. We're not elites. The chat, folks, is wide open. Anybody that wants to ask this man a question while he's here, please put it in all caps and I'll look for it. What's your next video going to be about, man? Have you figured that out yet?
Man, honestly, I never know. Any video that I've ever done, I've never known even as much as an hour before of what I was going to make a video on. It's just things hit me and I'm just like, boom, I'm you know what? I'm going to talk about this.
Yeah, ladies, he's married. He's already taken. He's off the market.
Very, very happily married, man. I have a really good wife, man. She is excellent. Hey, Pete, how you doing, brother? And so yeah, it's anyway. That made me go squirrel, man. I'm blushing now.
Well, we can't tell, man. You got the Bigfoot all over your face there. It's a big club, and we're not in it. Absolutely, we
Yeah,
hadn't been
exactly.
in it. Raven P, what is your most preferred knife that you can purchase? If
K
somebody's
bar,
looking for an EDC K bar,
K bar actually makes a really good knife. They also, I've got one that I've had for, gosh dang, man, 15, 18 years, and it goes hunting with me every year. I've skinned deer with it. I've batoned it on wood, and it still looks as good, and it still is as sharp. I've had to sharpen it, obviously, but it's I've never had a minute's trouble out of it. It is a USMC K bar.
there you go. Question for Backwoods: hiding stuff. You want to talk about hiding stuff? Maybe from door to door seizure, National Guard in a martial law situation.
Well, rebar, junk metal in your backyard, and burying stuff underneath it, and then burying metals on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Just scrap, just junk, make it look like a burn pile, and bury stuff in sealable 5-gallon buckets, things like that. If you try to hide something in your house, they're going to be able to find it, plain and simple. I mean, they have X-ray machines. They have all kinds of stuff. If it's in your house, it can be found.
Seabass says, "What will happen? What do you think will happen to the globalists?" I think right now Russia and its allies are fighting against globalists. That's just my personal opinion, but how do you see it playing out?
Um, it again, it depends on the people. That we are many and we are strong, and even some of us peasants that can't get along, when it comes down to the come down,
Yeah,
if we all stand together, the elitists have absolutely zero chance. Absolutely zero chance. We're starting to see it. There are many countries right now that are showing Americans how to be American.
that's true.
I'm just telling you, and it's
Props
really
to
shameful.
Canada. Props to Canada and the trucker
Canada,
protest they had.
France, Sri Lanka. I mean, man. I mean, the list goes on right
Even the
now,
folks
bro.
in Iran,
Yes,
and that's sad. The folks in Iran are standing up to the tyranny over there.
yes, absolutely. So it's our turn, people. It's our
Yeah.
turn.
Diesel or gasoline bug out vehicle. And extra credit for the Beetlejuice thumbnail art there,
Yeah,
Drifter.
boy. Really, golly, man. Diesel. Burnt uh, vegetable oil and stuff. You can prepare to burn in a diesel. And but man, gasoline at the same time. Boy, that's a hard one. I don't own a diesel. I never have. I've never had no use for a diesel. I'm a gas burner engine guy.
Yeah, they coming for you definitely. They
I know.
coming for all of us, but that wood stove, I'm telling you, man, keep that thing under lock and
I
key.
like I like being on the list.
How many lists you reckon you're on, Backwoods?
Shh. Man, I'm on the big list.
The big
Yeah,
list.
I bypassed all the other lists. I'm on the big list
You're
now.
like Warlord TV. He's got his own list. He's the only one
Right,
on it.
right.
Arkansas Underground, peaceful divorce or Civil War II? What do you think?
It's going to have to be a little of both. There's going to be boy, it's I don't. There's no way to have a peaceful divorce at this time. But I think that the Civil War will get so ugly and so nasty so quickly that there will be many people that will be calling for peace and be begging for peace. And
People call they'll often call for civil war. They're calling for it on both sides now,
mhm,
and I don't think people understand the horrors of war. Just having studied it, I mean, and I hate to get into it, but stuff like rape and stuff, man, people have been known, throwing themselves off of building tops and stuff to get away from soldiers and stuff like this, and just urban fighting and house to house fighting. It's no good, man. People should not want that, but that might be what's coming.
agreed. Agreed. Something too to really think about on this. And this is why I keep saying don't give up, keep fighting every day, and let's try to do this as legal as possible, just like in the video the other day that I made. Because if we do start civil warring in this country, it's going to get ugly, and it's going to get real ugly. And you got to understand that once you start in focusing and in fighting, and you're doing this here, guess what happens? All those ones that really don't like us and want to take over this nation, that's when they just sneak up right behind you, and all of a sudden you both turn around, both of y'all that are doing this, you turn around and you're surrounded.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Does Backwoods plan on growing his leatherworks hobby?
Yes, yes, yes. I would like to be doing more of it now, but the problem or I don't guess it's really a problem, but I like I said, the phone, the one of the companies I work for in my lawn care business called me yesterday and gave me a whole bunch more work, and so between work and family and everything, and then YouTube, because I really enjoy doing this stuff. I really enjoy YouTube. You know, um,
I do too. Tell people how much time goes into YouTube, though. We were just talking about this earlier.
the 13-minute video I made the other day took 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
And when I very first started really doing more than just sitting in front of a camera and talking, and I started doing things like, some putting editing in there and things like that, and trying to make the videos, more exciting or whatever. The first video that I made like that, it took me 8.5 hours, and it was a 7-minute video.
Yeah, your wife's like, "What are you doing out there?
Yeah.
Something's going on. It's something illegal." What's the best food prep, do you think?
The food that you eat. Rice and beans, man. It's kind of hard to argue against rice and beans.
That's a good one, Vaughn. Next month are the midterms. How do you see that playing out? Midterm elections here in America.
Well, Bond, brother. First off, I wanted to just shout out to Bond. I've been watching Bond a long, long time, man.
He's cool, ain't he?
That's a cool son of a bitch right there, man. Straight up, man. Bond, really, it's kind of like this, man. You got polling places, right? Or voting places. I'm sorry, voting places, and you got both sides of the faction going in there and voting. And if you go into a big place, like a big city where there's a lot of people, and people have time to stand around outside waiting to get in, things are going to pop off, man. We seen not too long ago. It's been a few years back, but we seen a certain group of people. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it or not on here, but
Well, say it, man.
the Black Panthers were showing up to some polling booths, and I keep saying polling, so to some voting places, and trying to intimidate people. I think that today people are so edgy. You know what I'm saying? If something like that happens, I think things are going to turn. I just think it's going to. I think it's going to get ugly, man. people are going to be out there. There's going to be, because of what happened in the last election with the most popular president in the history of the world of ever. You know what I'm saying?
So you a
Anyway,
Trump guy is what you're trying to say.
so I'm saying this last election, giving us the president that we have now.
Oh yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the selection process that took place.
Yes, I believe there's going to be a whole lot more people looking in on things, trying to be a part of it. And then you're going to have faction from the other side going, look, they're trying to cheat, they're trying to suppress. And I think it's going to turn ugly, man. I really do.
Yeah. The purge in Illinois, the catch and release they got going on right now in Illinois. I see you laughing. What are your thoughts on that, man? Illinois, I think it's statewide, right?
Yeah, arm yourselves. I don't care if it's legal or not. It's only illegal if you get caught. And I would rather be tried by 12 than carried by 6. I hope that's plain enough.
Yeah, that's pretty plain. This is a good place to close shop. We allowed it all.
Yes, we did.
You agree with that statement? And
Yes, sir.
What do we need to do to fix that? Can it be fixed?
I think that it's never too late as long as you draw a breath. But I do think that we have definitely, for some of you people out there that may have grew up out in the woods and four-wheel driving, y'all could probably understand this best. It's like we went down and through that mud hole, and we have come to a stop, and we realize, dang, man, we forgot to put it in four-wheel drive. And now we're putting it, basically we could put it in four-wheel drive and we can get out of this mud hole. But it's going to take a lot of work. And anybody that's ever been stuck in the middle of a mud hole knows it's not easy to get out. And it's something we need to all focus on. And everybody here and everybody that listens to this gets to make a decision starting today. Are you okay with the way things are going? And if you are, then just keep doing what you're doing. If you're not okay with the way things are going, then change it. Work on it. I will never give up. I believe that as long as you draw a breath, there's a chance. And we can see through history, no nation, no country, no economy, nothing has ever stood forever. There's always a change. So think on that one. We have the opportunity right now to move forward and change the direction of this country
and make things better, man. Better than they were before they started collapsing. If it's done right.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights calls for it, right?
Yes, sir.
At some point.
Absolutely.
Well, brother, I appreciate you being over here this morning. Y'all, once again, Backwoods is linked right down below this video. Go check him out. Maybe subscribe as he podcasts over there from the Redneck Riviera. I appreciate you being here and shooting a thumbs up and everything. We'll chat here shortly. Let me throw the outro out. God bless y'all. I'll see you Monday morning.
Thank y'all.